So I was in Europe, I was in France, and I was a legacy salesman, as you can say. And at one point, the idea germinated in her head that, hey, it's a plant. Why are we fattening up the street corner mafioso when we could probably be growing that plant? And I gotta say, it is to this day probably the most terrible setup I have ever seen
I
in my
put mine
life.
first against your first, and I guarantee I'll win for worst setup.
So our setup was a wooden pallet. We then use taped together cardboard to create what would be a
I didn't have the
tent
10.
in which we in which we put a 400-watt
I
HPS
used
light.
two spotlight halogen shop lights.
Okay, yeah,
I
so
win.
that
My weed was horrible.
well, we actually like we popped a bunch of seed. I remember there was the Ice back then, White
Okay.
Widow, some of the great classic, but it was stinking up the entire apartment building, and to this day, we have no idea how we didn't get
Oh,
arrested
listen.
for that. So that was the first grow, and it actually gave out something decent, and so it made us believe in growing.